Good evening. My name is Thurman Greco, and the name of this program is Let's Live with Thurman Greco, and it's coming to you this evening in Woodstock, New York, on Woodstock's educational TV program, Channel 23. And the next time you see it, and the next few times you see it, it will be on YouTube, Let's Live with Thurman Greco. And it's going to be on YouTube as part of several similar classes that I am teaching, because I think if you really want to learn this, how to do lower back treatment protocols, it may take you more than one session to be comfortable with it. So this evening I have a Reiki practitioner and her daughter, and we are going to be going through this whole protocol, which normally takes about an hour and a half, and we are going to speed it up so that it's about an hour, so that it will be easier for you to learn. Now, I do have handouts that are available, and if you'd like to have a handout, you can contact me at Thurman Greco, 31 Tannery Brook, Woodstock, New York, 12498. If you send me a stamped, self-addressed envelope and $5, I will send you the classes. You can also contact me at thurmangreco.com and get the handout as well. If you don't want to get the handout, you may not find it necessary, because I am going through this verbatim. I am reading each paragraph, and I'm being very, very careful to follow the instructions explicitly. I was taught this protocol by a man in Northern Virginia, Gilbert Gallego, who was a Reiki master teacher in Reston, Virginia, and he taught Reiki Jinkaido, which is a follow-on Reiki, truthfully. It's an Usui Reiki, but it does combine with other exercise modalities that are grounding. And it's a very interesting Reiki if you're interested, if you become interested and would like to learn it, because Gilbert Gallego is a very interesting teacher. And so we're going to start off this evening. Elise is going to begin the session, and then we are going to go through and we're going to try to, as I said, move a little bit faster. In order to feel like you qualify to learn this, all you have to do is be a Reiki practitioner. It doesn't matter whether you're Reiki 1, Reiki 2, or Reiki 3. That is not important. And there is a segment in this protocol which does involve using some Reiki, some reflexology. And it's a very easy reflexology to include in your Reiki session. If you decide not to do it, you can leave it out. Or if you want to get a reflexology textbook, there are just a couple of things that you do to the feet, which will offer some more relief. So the first thing that we're going to do here is we are going to offer an assessment of the person when they come in for a lower back treatment. Now, you know, a lot of people, and I know this is true, who receive Reiki do not come in complaining with specific aches and pains. Do you have that? You don't get a lot of people, do you?
No.
Right, I don't. People want a Reiki session. They feel energized, relaxed, calm, whatever they feel, but they don't come in saying, I have a headache or I have a backache or whatever. But this is for people who definitely have some lower back issues. And lower back issues are spiritual. So this is a spiritual approach to dealing with your lower back. So, and when people come to me for a Reiki session, I don't usually ask them a lot of questions. We just hop up on the table and get with the program. But here, because it's a lower back protocol, I watch them as they walk into the room and see what their gait is like. Are they limping? Are their toes pointed out? Are their toes pointed in? Is one shoulder dramatically higher than the other? Those indications are all indications of discomfort. So you kind of want to watch what's going on. And you also want to look at the client from the back. You want to see as the person, as you have the back of the person, the spine of the person in front of you, are the shoulder blades one higher or lower than the other one? As one shoulder higher or lower than the other one you want? And sometimes when people are uncomfortable, they'll even look like maybe one shoulder is in front of the other one. So these are just things for you to notice. And then you want to kind of notice the person from the side. And the reason you want to notice the person from the side is you want to know, where is the head? Is the head tilted? Is it tilted to the side? Is it tilted to the front? Is it tilted to the back? So you're going to get a kind of an impression of what's going on with the spine. Not that it's something important, but it's just for you to have some information in your memory banks. And the first thing you're going to do is ask the client to lie down face up on the table. And then you are going to walk around to the feet, and you are going to lift both legs. You're going to put your hands under the ankles, and you're going to lift both legs up about 3 inches off the table. And what you want to do is you're going to check and see if maybe one leg is longer than the other one. So, and it doesn't make any difference. A lot of us have one leg longer than the other one. But if their lower back is bothering them, then that's something else that you want to take attention to. And then you are going to place your hands under the client's heels, and you're going to gently rock the ankles left to right and see if they'll go. See if they'll move. A lot of people, they won't. Now you'll notice with her, she's actually moving the legs. You're moving the ankles, but the whole leg, including the knee and up to the hip, is moving. That is neither bad or good, but it is a fact that as you move those ankles, that you are going clear up to the hip. And then you are going to, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to run your hand along the arch of the foot. And you're going to feel whatever you feel. Because some people don't have any arches. Their feet are flat. Some people are frozen. You know, their feet are frozen. They don't move much. What you're trying to do as you move your hands along the feet is get a feel for what's happening with the spine. And the spine of the foot, as far as the reflexology is concerned, is along the inside of this foot. So this is where the spine is. And, you know, somebody may even say to you, ooh, you know, and you notice, I didn't ask you to do a heavy touch. You're just running your hands gently along the feet. Somebody may say, oh, that feels a little tense right there. So you're just checking the arches of the foot. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go back to the head, and you are going to start from the top of the client's head, and you are going to slide your hands under the spine as far as you can do it. And here's what we're going to do. What you do is you go down as far as you can, and then you bring yourself up. And with all the way. Now just don't just let her do it. And it's gonna feel different with every person that you put your hands back, but you want to get as far into the spine as you can, as far down as you can. And you're going to, while you're doing this, go back with your hands, go back in with your hands. Yeah, but she doesn't have to lift her shoulders, she doesn't anything. It's just you slip your hands underneath, and as you move your hands along the spine, try to visualize stress melting away. Try to visualize relaxation, and try to have your client, if they can, to breathe into your spine. So that while you pull on this spine, while you pull your fingers along the spine, let her kind of breathe into the spine. And again, if you have any questions with what you're going to do, you can always order the instructions, and they will be sent to you, or you can watch this program over and over again on YouTube. Now, come around to the right side of the client and place your left hand with the palm up under the base of her neck. Right there. Now, take your right hand and slip it under here. And you're going to go under, now just relax, just relax. This is the sacrum. So you've got the hand, you've got the right hand under the sacrum and the left hand under her neck. And let her breathe into the sacrum and feel the energy relaxing. And feel the energy moving equally into both hands. That may not happen overnight. That may not happen the first session. That may happen instantly, or it may not. That's just something that you're going to kind of work along. And you're going to bring in the chakra symbols now. So now, while you're doing this, you're going to offer the chokure and the saheki and the hanshase shonen and the chokure. So you're going to do a chokure sandwich. And that's just a wonderful thing right there. And do you feel like you have done that now? Yes. Okay. Now, go back to the top of your head, to the client's head, and place your hands under you're right, in one of the positions, one of these original positions. And use these two fingers as what we call the magic sword. And you're going to have the magic sword onto the occipital ridge. And of course the occipital ridge is the ridge right at the bottom of the scalp. And that in itself is a wonderful thing to do. And that in itself is a position which can be incorporated into your regular Reiki sessions. And use gentle pressure and relax the various muscles in the neck. So that's what you're going to work on now. And now, put some pressure against the bottom of their skull and gently try to raise the chin up a little bit. Now you don't want to do this. You want your Reiki practitioner to move this up. This is something that some people, when they first receive Reiki, they have a hard time just kind of letting go and letting the practitioner do the movements and just kind of relaxing into whatever is happening. And that is what's happening now. So you're going to lift the chin, and then you're going to rock the head from side to side. And there's a lot of stress there. Everybody has a lot of stress. I don't know whether she feels a lot of stress. I don't know whether you feel the stress. But this is one of the main stress locations in the body. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to take your left hand under the head and down at the occipital ridge, and then you want to take the right hand and place it on the shoulder. So you've got your left hand under the occipital ridge and then the right hand under the shoulder. And that's going to offer some energetic lengthening, because when muscles are stressed, they get short.
So am I pushing a little bit?
Yeah, I'm gonna push a little bit. And you might notice, a little. And she might notice a little. So you're gonna do that and hold that for several minutes. And then you're going to switch so that the other hand is under the head. And that's right, the right hand is under the head, down at the occipital ridge, and the left hand is on the shoulder. And you can ask, anytime you do one of these positions in a Reiki session, you can always ask your client, now breathe into that. Anytime. If you have your hands on their solar plexus, you can always ask them to breathe into it. If you have your hands down at their feet, you can ask them to breathe into the feet. Now, the next thing that you need to do is you're going to go up here and you're going to use your magic sword to offer some relaxation, because this is an area of the body that is awfully stressed all the time. And especially if somebody's been watching television today, things are really stressed. How do you feel that? Do you feel that?
I do. I've never done it before. So.
Yeah, well, that's one of the interesting things about this program, this protocol. Mm-hmm. It offers a lot of Reiki positions and Reiki options that you may not have noticed before. Okay, now you're right at her right side, so you're going to take your left hand and you're going to put it on her right shoulder. Okay, and then you're going to take the right hand and you're going to put it above her right knee. And you're going to stretch just a little bit. 2 or 3 times you're going to stretch. And you can do that several times. And now, after you've done that several times, go around to the other side and do the same thing. And it's very easy. It's very easy to do these positions quite slowly. It's easy to almost do it in slow motion. Because you've got at least an hour and a half, and if you don't get through the whole session in an hour and a half, you've got done what you got done. Because you are working toward relaxing your client. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to, and you can do this several times, but now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to come over here back to the right-hand side. And this is another thing that does happen with this Reiki session. You are moving around the body more often than you would in a regular Reiki session. And that's one of the reasons that you want to go slow motion. Because if you get whatever and nervous or whatever and you feel like I'm not getting enough done, I've got to speed up, then the client is going to feel like you're racing around them. And you are, so you want to go slow. But the next thing you're going to do is you are going to take the left hand and you're going to put it on her left hip, right there. And then you're going to take your other hand and put it on to the knee.
To the knee, on the top?
Yes. Yeah. And you are slowly going to back up. Yeah, you're down now, so now you're just going to slowly back up. No, your hands are going to stay there, but that's it. And actually you could get under, and now, see what happened? You're actually rolling that whole part of the body there slowly. Yeah, and this is a movement that a lot of people have not experienced in a long time. So you do this several times, and then when you feel like you've accomplished something, then you come around to the other side and do the other side. Yeah. Now, have you noticed that one leg is different? So that tells you that maybe one side of the body needs more Reiki than the other. That's a whole, something we never thought about before. This whole protocol is very interesting. Now, you're gonna go over to the right side and you're gonna take the left hand and put it under the sacrum again. Okay. And then you've got your hand here on the knee. Okay. And stretch this muscle to you. That's right. See, so you're kind of almost pushing with the left hand and you're pulling with the right hand. So in the last position, we were working with the knee to the hip, and now you're working with the whole side of the body. So you have started off with the knee to the hip was like an introduction. So now you're trying to stretch, and of course, for many people, this can be very something they haven't done in a long time. So they're going to come off the table feeling completely different, which is a wonderful thing. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to go over to the other side and do the same thing. And I think it's interesting that on this position, you've got the sacrum, you're holding the sacrum in the same place, but the body there, see how are the legs different? Are they different each time? Yeah. And when you run across people who have knee problems, who have hip problems, who have had knee replacements, who have had hip replacements, who should have had knee or hip replacements, this is going to be a wonderful thing for them because it's going to offer them relaxation in a way that they never did before. So, all right. That kind of expands everything. Now, you're going to go back to the client's right side, and what you're going to do is you're going to check the energy moving from the right foot up and across the sacral and around. So what you're doing is you're going here and you're going around to the sacrum and down. So we worked with this, and then we worked with this, and now we've got the whole movement, how it goes. So what you're going to do is,
Here?
yeah, I tried this.
Try that, okay.
Yes. What you're going to do is visualize the energy moving up and across the sacrum and down the left leg, and you're going in one position, okay? And while you're doing this, now you've got your hand here. Now you're going to take your magic sword and you're going to go into right there, which is the bubbles. Yeah, right there.
Okay.
And so that's kind of intensifies things.
How does that feel? Good.
Okay, now go around to the other side.
And do the same.
Yeah.
I start here.
Yeah. Start there, and then you're going to move it to the magic sword.
And then here.
Yeah. Now, of course, we're staying here, 30 seconds or a minute. But in a regular session, you might stay there several minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes there. So, now you're going to have one hand on the magic sword and the other one on the hip.
Okay.
So, yes. So we've got this.
Am I in the right place on the foot?
You're on the right place on the foot, and you're gonna do that, and then you're gonna move your hand over to the magic sword on the other foot, so that you're actually doing a cross. You're moving the cross. And then now,
Switch.
yeah, switch.
Go on this way.
Yeah. How does that feel?
I've never done it before, so.
Don't have anything quite to compare it with.
Right,
That's why we need to do this more than one
Yes,
time.
yes.
Now that you have done this, you've got a few minutes. I'd like for you to spend about 15 minutes just offering whatever regular Reiki session you feel comfortable offering. When you've done this and you have so much more time and you've really shifted things a lot, and then you then you finish up your session with regular Reiki positions, you may feel motivated to go in a different pattern or in a different way because the energy has shifted so much. And of course, this has been quite a little session for her. I mean, this has been a lot going on in a very few minutes. One of the things that I think is so important in this session is that when it's over, that you try to get some feedback. You want to get some feedback from yourself, and you want to get some feedback from your client. Because this isn't, for one thing, at some point, you may be offering this session to a person who has never experienced Reiki. You may be offering this session to a person who has experienced a lot of Reiki. So it's a different response every time. Elise, I'm going to bring this chair up here. We have a couple of minutes, and I'm going to ask you if you can, once you have finished your session, let's spend a couple of minutes talking about how this was for you. So, what are a couple of things that you could share about this session?
I've never used the magic swords before.
Right.
This is my first experience doing that. And I hope I've done it in the right places. But I could see how it would be a very good tool.
You know, the first time I encountered a magic sword was in this class too, with Gilbert Gallego. There were 50 of us there, and it was like, and you use your magic sword, and we were all looking at each other. I didn't know what's the
Because I read it, but I didn't know what it meant.
Right.
How did you find it? I really liked it, and I really did feel my lower back opening up, especially when you were kind of doing that bit. It was really effective, for sure.
And she wasn't working very hard to do it. It just opened
It
right
was
up.
surprising how effective it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And people, this is our core beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, there's so much going on in our country, so much going on this planet, that everybody's core beliefs are being attacked, whether we like it or not. So and for you to respond, that's a very positive thing.
Yeah.
So, let's go, you said you had never done that, and I never have either. Okay.
So show me the exact point.
Where the magic sword is right here, it's where your solar plexus is right there.
Okay,
And you just go like that.
okay.
But now, Gilbert Gallego, if you look at those, when you
Yeah.
take home your handouts, he uses the magic sword in several different ways. And that's the Jin Kaido thing.
Pressure point.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everybody who studies under Gilbert Gallego, or who studies what I understand from Jin Kaido, is that this is part of your studies, is learning how to use these different tools
Yeah.
that I had never experienced in Usui. Although it is considered to be a Usui Reiki. It's not considered to be a follow-on Reiki.
Okay.
So, was there anything that you felt like more positive about?
I was grateful to be learning something new, another tool to have, and I was grateful my daughter to come and participate, and grateful that you were here. I found it really interesting, but I'm not comfortable with it. I would have to become more comfortable to make sure I'm doing it correctly.
Okay, that's very true. When I studied this, I was way out of my comfort zone, way out of my comfort zone. And I had been doing Reiki for some years when I started, I did many classes with this man. And he always brought me out of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
That was part of his technique, I suppose. And one of the things that he did is, and I don't do this, all of his classes were all-day classes. And whatever was going on, we were all out of our comfort zone, and he would stop in the middle of the day and he'd say, okay, now we've got to all have some chocolate. So he was really good that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that part of it. So what was of course it's hard to tell now because you're just getting into this, but is there anything that you see you taking home and using this week?
Well, I am going to study it again, and I will go through the whole, I'll get my husband on the table
Yeah.
and try it with him, like at a more leisurely pace.
Yes. And so that you're not just racing back and forth,
Yeah.
because it's kind of a race
Right.
in this
Yeah,
sound.
yeah.
If you can do the magic sword again, because I was over by the audio,
Okay.
and I can get a picture of it.
Okay, the magic sword is right here. But he has us using the magic sword in several different places. And I am sure that if you go to your computer and you Google the magic sword, that you will find a lot of information on it. At the time that I learned it, there wasn't that much out there. I mean, the computer was a very, compared to today, a very ineffective tool. Because, for one thing, back then, once something found its place on the computer, that's where it was forever. And I don't know how that changed, but that did change about 20 years ago. So, how do you see, and I realize this is brand new, but how do you see yourself incorporating this into your career as a Reiki practitioner?
I will use it.
Oh, it is something that you think you might use?
Yes. If somebody does come with like a backing type of thing, then I feel like I have something else to offer them. And we'll try it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Because when I was in my class, I encountered people who were saying, well, it's been a good day, but I'm not going to do this anymore.
I'll try it.
But and also, I think it's going to, for anybody who picks up who picks up on this, whether it's through YouTube or rather, however, for somebody who has not worked with an uncomfortable or an ill person, this puts you in a new category. You know? That was one thing. Reiki Jin Kaido works with people who are uncomfortable or ill or whatever. They are not in their comfort zone. Whereas Usui Reiki for a lot of people is not that kind of a program. And so this does move you into a new situation. And I think that's kind of like a promotion right there. Do you see yourself calling people up and telling them, come over and let me practice?
Yes.
Okay. So it is something that you will work with.
Right.
That's good.
I'll try.
Well, because a lot of people, it's very interesting, Elise, to me it's very interesting. When I learned Reiki, I was so unfamiliar with Reiki that I did not see a path. Not that I didn't see myself using it, I just didn't see myself walking down this particular path. But nowadays you run across people who come and they want to learn Reiki, and they want to learn Reiki because they're going to do this with it. And of course, this may change, will change, but at that point that they're learning it, this is what they're using it for. And one of the things that I have learned about Reiki is that whatever you start off doing, you're not going to end up that way. You're going to end up doing something better.
Interesting.
You may say, okay, I'm going to do this. I have run across some people, especially since the pandemic, who are only doing distance Reiki. And there were a few people in my life that were only doing distance Reiki before the pandemic, but now there are more. And I am encountering people who they don't see themselves touching anyone. And so I'm just wondering, because if there is anything Reiki does, it changes us. How has Reiki changed for you?
Well, I learned it right before the pandemic. I think March was our last class. But at least it was the Reiki toe that I could do a long distance. Thank God, because that's really, I wasn't seeing family.
Right.
But I could send them Reiki. You would wake up in the middle of the night and oh my God. But you could send them Reiki. So it really got me through the pandemic that I felt like there was something I could do. And but now I am starting to see people, people coming to my house, and I am, through word of mouth, and it's all friends, it's all people that I know, and I think people are coming to me now, where maybe they wouldn't have to come either. Right. So
I think also that I spend a lot of time thinking that and telling people we're not going to go back. We're only going to go forward. But in my mind, I'm not sure that I really convinced myself of that. But now, in the last few months, I and several other professional people that I'm working with, we're finally coming to the realization that this is, now that we've got polio and monkeypox and God only knows what else out there. And I think that part of the reason that we have all of these things is that the planet is filthy. The planet is ill. But then that's my bias. Somebody else is going to see it a different way. But it doesn't matter what I think is causing it. It is happening. It is happening. So learning how to work with these things. So as we take this this was very hands-on.
Yes.
We're gonna have to adapt it. Because if there's anything that we know about Reiki, it is that anything that you can do with touch, you can do in distance. So that's our next step, is to take this and move this stretching and moving and the sacrum moving and trying to figure out how to get it to work with distance. Because that's really where we're at. I think now, I really do. So we're at a very, very interesting time. That. So are you working it out of your home at all now?
Yes, but it's pretty much everybody's volunteers.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, to help me to perfect my technique, so.
How are you adapting to the ethics of distance Reiki?
In what way?
Well, we used to have these conversations in Reiki class about, do you do Reiki on somebody that doesn't know it yet? What are your guidelines?
Well, I do mostly family, so I don't think they'd be shocked.
Send the Reiki. No, when you know we're having a bad day, she'll send the Reiki.
Yeah. Or sometimes I'll just send out a text to everybody, send Reiki or send Reiki. If I feel like there's
If one of the kids has a test.
if one of the kids has a test, they'll call me and tell me, or text me and say, I have a test tomorrow, or an interview, interviews, or, so they're pretty, but nobody's shocked in my family that's in the Reiki, but for people outside of the family, what I do with them is, if they've been to my table and they've experienced hands-on and they need long-distance Reiki, I prefer for them to experience it hands-on first, and then if they need Reiki, I will send them Reiki, but at least they know what they're supposed to be, what it's supposed to be like. So that's how I would handle it.
That is very, very perceptive and really, really nice. That's what Gilbert Gallego does. Because he obviously does all kinds of things. The first time he works with a person, he wants it to be ordinary, garden variety, right here, written. And then after that, then we do other things.
Yeah.
But for the first time, and I think that's a lovely way to go.
I mean, I do have people that are going through a difficult time who have never done hands-on Reiki, and I will send it to them. What, I don't know whether they appreciate it or not, but it's just an act of kindness.
Well, whether they appreciate it or not if it comes back at you. But then you don't know if you send it on. Because like right now, any distance Reiki that I do on human or plant or animal or mineral or whatever, I say, if it is not accepted, please send it on to the women and children in Ukraine. And when I first started with that phrase, it was to the women and children in Iraq. I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, And it's an interesting thing too, because in the beginning we were very, very, where I was taught, we were very, very, some of us were very, very structured about who receives Reiki and who does not. But I think now we've kind of moved along. Everybody has needs. And one of my friends recently admitted that she went through chemotherapy. She found out later so well because of the Reiki that somebody was sending to her that she didn't even know she was getting. So, you know, that has a lot to do with it.
Mhm.
So, I'm hoping we can continue this class on. And Miss Ellen, how much time do we have left?
About 10 minutes.
Oh, we have 10 minutes left. Oh, in that case, listen, can we have a conversation, a group here with other professionals? And can we have one with recipients only?
That would be nice.
Okay, let's do it.
That would be nice.
And what do you think are some of the most important things that you have learned in Reiki?
Wow. I learned, one of the big things that I did learn was that I can do it.
That is
It is
huge.
huge. Yeah,
It is huge.
yeah. And I learned that I'm an instrument. It's not coming it's coming through me. It's not, I'm not getting it. I'm an instrument. And, which is good because, there's no ego. It has nothing to do with you. And if you're having a bad day, you can still do it and the person can still receive some good Reiki, even if I'm having a bad day, I used to avoid it. But recently I had a bad day and somebody needed it and they had good results.
You know, that's very true. Now that is something that is extremely important. Because when you say that, and you say it out loud, what you're saying is that you're recognizing Reiki as having its own self.
Mhm.
And that puts healing in a completely different category,
Mhm.
which is pretty fabulous.
Mhm. I'm fascinated by the Reiki, by the results,
Yeah.
When people tell me what they've experienced. It's really interesting.
And I think it's extremely important because as you start getting involved in the world of healing, whether it's medicine, as in physician or nurse or whatever, or a healer, or whatever, some shaman, whatever, how wild you get out there, it is not ever the person. That's what I think. And that is the one thing that I really try to teach all of my students. It's really not about you. And it's really not. It is really, no matter what you do.
Right.
And some people, and you see them on television and you see them teaching in classes. My class is the only one. I am the only person in the whole planet that can do this. That's not true. And I think that's an extremely important thing for human beings to learn. So I get real excited about that one. And I have been thinking about how early in life can we learn Reiki?
I think early. I really do. When we were at my daughter's house and your back was hurting me that day. I mean, how old was Kite? She was what, 3? So, and I think you picked, I forget what you did, but her back was really, really hurting her. And so I just said, I'm gonna come out and just, she couldn't even sit down. So I walked over and I started, doing my, and her daughter She was, like, she came over and did it without us prompting. She just walked over and started putting her hands. I think it's natural. I think it's for children to if they were encouraged,
Yes.
yeah, that it comes naturally to them.
And I don't think, oh, we're down to 5 minutes? Oh, wow. I don't think Reiki's psychic. No, I'm not psychic.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. I think it's much more universal than that. I really do.
Yeah.
So do we have any final statements? Do we have any final remarks to make before we sign off?
Well, I just want to say thank you to you for doing all of this and to bring Reiki out and for teaching me Reiki.
Oh, listen, I'm just an instrument. I believe that. And we thank Ellen. Thank you very, very much, Ellen. Ellen, I swear, yes, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, sweet.
And we'll be coming back again soon.
Okay.
We'll get it on the calendar tonight.